Okay. So thank you again. I know right now we are less than in the previous session, but for sure it's because it was more difficult and for the Europeans right now it's late in the evening, so it's okay. But it doesn't matter because the idea is that we will consider the results from this morning. We will consider again the results of the afternoon. Okay. So I think at the end we will have a better approach of the results. So first of all, thank you again for joining this resilience session, which will somehow continue the session we had this morning, but to be more interactive and to consider the exchanges from the audience. As we only have 5 assistants, I guess it will be fine if we upgrade them all and we can see all each other. Is that fine with all of you? Okay. Okay, then I will upgrade everyone and we will see each other. Hi, Eduardo.
Hi,
Very welcome.
thank you.
And we have Julia from San Diego, Luciana from Paraná, and someone from Latin America, I guess is Aurelie or Edgardo. But the system, oh, we have another one. Okay. I don't know why it's not allowing me. Well, let's start because I don't know if you can upgrade them. No? Hmm. Perhaps there is a maximum. Hmm. Perhaps there is a maximum because the system is not allowing me. Or perhaps it's asking you. Well, never mind. We will start. Very sorry for the 3 ones that I was not able to upgrade. But you can choose you can use the chat whenever you want to mention anything, okay? Okay, so this session will be with our sustainable team from Acciona, José Luis, Alejandro and Iván, which will be on the backstage, I guess, and Amparo. We will base this practical session on the most common challenges cities and regions may face on their decision-making process. We will need you to participate through your own device, so have it ready because we will share a link in a minute and you will just need to open it and follow the different screens. We recommend you use Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox browser. So right now, let me introduce the tool. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Okay. 1 minute. Here it goes. So resilience is a tool that which aim is to prioritize what really matters. We have many different issues, challenges, or items, and the idea is to establish the relationship between all of them and pass from the business as usual, from the linear part, to business as unusual, to consider the relations between all of them. The process considers 3 phases. We already will skip the initial phase and the brainstorming for the phase 1, as we already, in order to have some time and to consider the exchanges for phase 2. We already agreed internally, we did our internal brainstorming, and we already defined the common challenges, which I will share in a minute. So right now, I will go to the link. I don't know if Alejandro is there. Okay. Can you just share the link and I will enter and share again my screen. Perfect. So I will share my screen again. Okay. It's coming. It's coming and coming. Okay. So while it charges, this is the final link, Amparo? Yeah, okay. So just give it a little bit more time. Okay. While it opens, I will start describing the key challenges that we will cover. The idea is, first of all, that we define the role. There, we will see a screen. Okay, the link is not working, so perhaps it's not.
It takes a while. This morning, it takes a while.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, here it comes. Okay, so you just have to scroll down, down, and down, and you have, first of all, to select the role. So this morning we did it with Australasia, China. Now you can choose between Latin America, North America, or Europe, depending on the geographical area where you come from. Eduardo, you can be Europe. Okay, so once you have done, and you can advise us on the chat whether you have any problems. Once you are with that, we will save and continue with the topic creation. Okay, you just click the red button and we will pass to the next screen. So in the next screen, we will see the challenges that we have defined already and the parameters that will be used to balance and to consider those challenges. So in example, from an administrative perspective, we will see multi-level governance or regulatory changes or strategic reference frameworks or legislative time. Are you all okay? Here it goes. I guess you all pass to the next screen, but I mean, I'm just going to see the text as the, okay. Okay, just please advise on the chat if you have any problem, okay? So, as I was mentioning, we will have these challenges, but first of all, let me explain the scoring topics. So, the idea is that each of us give a score for each of these challenges for feasibility, for impact, and for velocity. But to better understand what are these topics, let's read the description. So for feasibility is the ability to develop a project. An example of what we saw today with Kirsten and the waste management project. No, in that case will be how easy is to implement a tax a tax strategy, no, in a city. In example, for impact, it will be the transformative capacity of that action, considering these set objectives. And the velocity will be the time needed to execute that action. In example, perhaps for the tax, it takes 3 years because there are lots of administrative procedures. So I think with a concrete project, with a concrete example, you will better understand how to balance these 3 axes. So let's go one by one. We have included 2 key words for each topic. So at the end, we will see the results with these keywords. But if you press the button with the eye, you will see the description of each of them. The idea is that we are all aligned with the descriptions, so we understand what we are referring to with innovation technologies. In the case of innovation technologies, we are referring that right now in the area of digitalization and innovation, it is crucial to have the most advanced technologies and to be aligned with the market trends. Physical constraints. When we refer to physical constraints, we mean that there may be some limited space in cities compacted as in the center of Europe. Of course, this will be different in other cities in Latin America or North America that are not so developed, no? But this is the idea. For cultural context, as we saw in the previous presentations, it means to better understand the place where the project is going to be developed, considering human behavior, social aspects, environmental aspects, and the cultural heritage. No? For public-private model, we are referring that projects may require a public-private financing mix to favor the implementation, because only with the public budget it is not enough. So we have to consider other alternatives through other economic models. For budget constraint, I think it's clear, but it's public financing that we need to open to other alternatives to attract investment funds as the multilateral agencies that we saw this before. Financial sustainability keeps the term of the timeline of the long term. So it considers all the project stages from design, construction, operation, and maintenance. Quadruple helix, this is something that many of you in the RURC are familiar with. It's to consider all support key actors, not only the public and the private sector in a traditional way, but of course the academy, universities, and the civil society, in order to involve them from the very beginning and decision-making process. Multidisciplinarity considers the different technical disciplines working under a common challenge under the same project. I see 2 mentions. Okay, thank you, Jose Luis. This is important what Jose Luis is mentioning in the text. We will see right now, but the idea of considering the values, the feasibility, impact, and velocity of these challenges, feasibility 100% would be that it's very easy, and 0% is very difficult. Impact, if it has a super impact in the environment, in the context, or 0 with it does not affect the context and the involvement in the project. No, and the timeline for the velocity, we will see the sorry, I missed the link. Here it is. It was because of the recording, sorry. I was in internal communication. For internal communication, as you may have faced in other projects, this refers to the lack of internal communication, considering the different technical areas or administrative areas involved under the same project or action. In regards the administrative capacity, we want to refer that sometimes the nominated key personnel for a project has not the capacity for decision making, or even the possibility to coordinate through other administrative areas. Licenses and permits refers to the administrative barriers that we may find considering a project, perhaps with the Fargo that Diego was mentioning. It affects the environmental area, and should an environmental assessment should be provided. So it could affect and can take a long time. So it's important also to consider those for our projects. Legislative length considers it differs from one country to another. and it's very cultural, but we should consider also short-term legislators versus the time needed to implement an action. Strategic reference frameworks is to be aligned with the current frameworks and to the existing ones, no, in the different countries or cities where you come from. Considering Europe, it is also to be aligned with the EU taxonomy, as Jose Luis was mentioning this morning or this afternoon, sorry, or Sandra with the European Bauhaus, but also with the Green Deal and other regulatory framework that may affect our action. For regulatory changes, we need to mention the necessity to adapt the existing regulatory framework from our cities or regions. In example, in Spain, we have not adapted still the regulatory for the district heating and cooling, in example, while in Europe they are pursuing and some countries have already advanced with this regulatory framework. So that should also be considered. And finally, multi-level governance means that there are different decision-making levels of governments involved. There can be local, regional, national, or even Europe, as Ronnie was mentioning at the beginning of the session. So the idea is that right now, each of you from your device will start giving a value, considering what was explained in the chat also by Jose Luis, considering feasibility. It's 100 if it's very easy, otherwise give a 0. So first of all, it's important that we give all the challenges one by one, only feasibility, as I am doing right now. You will see the balls. The idea is that they do not overlap a lot in order to better read the results. Once we have finalized voting all the feasibilities to the 15 challenges, we will have to give a value for the impact. Again, the most 100 goes to the ones that have a more impact in the action we are considering. It's better if you have in mind a specific project. I will go one by one and giving you some examples. And do the impact in all of the challenges. Okay, as I am doing, so balls will go up. And finally, velocity, once we have finalized all impacts. Velocity, we have given a wide range of times. Monthly, if it's an action that should consider a follow-up in a monthly basis, or something that may be developed in half a year, or something that should be considered an annual revision, or 2 years, or something considering the long term, which will go beyond 3 years. So let's start in your own device, as I was mentioning, one by one of the challenges. Once we all have finalized, we will ask in the chat. We will have right now like 10 minutes. And once you have finalized, just mention it in the chat, but do not press the send button until we are all in at the same page, okay? So in example, for innovate, I'm just going to give you examples if it helps you, but of course you can start voting, and the more independent that we make it, I think the better, no? But for innovation technologies, in example, in a project like the waste management of Fortaleza Essen, innovation technologies may have an impact like feasibility. I think it's quite like that. But and for the impact, I think it will have a lot of impact. Oh, sorry. All feasibility at the same time. Do not forget it, okay? For physical constraints, we can do it like that. I think we're not going to have many physical constraints for the waste. Cultural context, yes, it's going to may affect a lot. Public-private model, yes, may affect a lot. and one by one. See the balls? Try them not to overlap a lot. And then all the velocities. Sorry, Anna, could you say the QR code? Oh, the link. You mean the link? Yeah, Amparo will share it just in a minute. Yeah, thank you, Sandra. Felipe, just in case you were lost, first you have to define your role. This was in the previous screen. And in your case, you will have to choose IURC Latin America. Once you send that role, because right now we are 37 users, which is a lot, considering the morning session, I guess. And just in case you didn't follow me when I explained the scoring topics, you will have to evaluate 15 challenges that we have already defined as normally common challenges in the decision-making process. We will measure them considering 3 topics: feasibility, impact, and velocity. Feasibility will mean the ability of implementation. I mean, if it's very easy, it will be 100. If it's very difficult, 0. It's okay. 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 Sorry, Felipe. It was just to double check that you followed me. Okay, so please advise in the chat how many of you have been able to do it. Sandra is done. Sandra, don't lose it right now, as it happened in the morning. I don't know if anyone else has been able to finalize. Alex, why not, Alex? Are you having any trouble with the tool? No? And with the link that has now been shared, that Sandra has already shared. I think Felipe was able to open it. Let's try. Thank you, Jose Luis. Please advise, Alex. No? Oh. Yes, what Jose Luis is mentioning is important. We have to use Chrome. Otherwise, it does. Yeah, that is the problem also with me. I think I open it with Edge and with not Chrome. Sorry. Perhaps with Chrome, you will be able to open it, Alex. Or I don't know if you have a device that perhaps you can open it. Well, otherwise, no worries. We will be sharing the results of the rest, but I think it's more funny if you can include your. Never mind. But it's because specific restriction access of your city. Never mind. Very sorry. Never mind. Well, if you want to join the session, I think it's quite interesting to see and to read the results. So just do not leave us. Okay, so we will pass now. If we are on to press the send button, and we will go to the next screen. Okay, it can be in English if you just click on the right side. So right now, we will pass to the relation between the topics. So the idea right now is you press one of these balls. In a second, we will see the keywords. Yeah, now you see them. So the idea right now is to define the relations between the challenges that we have already included in the axis. So the idea is to define the type of relation they establish between the different balls. We could have strong relations. So we press the strong bottom, yes. We put the mouse in a ball and see the relationship is established as strong. It can also be a double connected. So the relationship between those two challenges will be strong. First, I would recommend to define all the strong linkages between the different challenges. Afterwards, to proceed with the medium. Then weak. And do not send data until we are all at the same page. If we want to modify something because they said, no, I think this is not strong, this is medium, you can just put with your mouse in the green and put delete. Delete, it will be red and it will be erased. Okay? So I think it's quite easy. We have also what we have, Amparo, like 5 10 minutes to establish the relations. And when you are done, you can share in the chat a message. And sorry, Alex, but at least you will see what I am doing, or you can tell me in the chat, no, do a medium relation between the legislative length, or I will consider it, okay? Considering that you are not able to vote, if you want to give me some advice, it's welcome. Okay, Amparo, 5 minutes. So let's start with the strong linkages. Okay. How are you doing? Okay. Once you have done, send data, okay? Okay, so I just stop sharing my screen to give some minutes to compile the results and leave Jose Luis to interpret the conclusions and the relations of the different balls. I'm sorry, Alex, that you were not able to do it.
Are you ready to compile?
Let's see if a couple more, at least. Okay,
Yes,
Luciana, Ronnie, Sandra already. Dan, Eduardo. Okay, let's wait one more and you can start, Jose Luis.
Anna, question for you. What do you want to do? We can merge these results with the result that we have done, we have got this morning, or do you prefer to have a separate results for the group this afternoon?
What I was talking with Alejandro this morning after the session is that there is a possibility to split the results and then to have separate results from each of the geographical areas. So
yes,
I
this
think
is possible. My question is, what do you want to do now?
To split.
Okay, we keep all the
But I mean,
this
is open, eh? This is open.
Okay, I think that if we have time, we can make it possible. Great. Let us compile. We'll come back in a minute.
Ronnie says maybe separate first and then combined.
Okay.
No, yeah, I think maybe for this session it's better to separate and find out the results, and then in our report from this event we can compile and see and you know some comments from your side.
Perhaps there is time to see both of them, to see first separately and then compiled. I don't know if that's too much, Jose Luis.
We will try.
We will try.
Do our best. Okay.
Thank you.
Give us another.
In the meantime, I hope you found this tool interesting. Ronnie is our fan number one right now. The truth is that it's very dynamic, and it's true what Sandra was mentioning in the morning. You vote something, and then if you think it the other way, or you probably will not make the same interlinkages as we did in the morning. So it's quite funny. But we will see what we get. What we were saying this morning, and that is why I was asking to compile, is that the more participants, the more reliable the results are. So that is why I was asking for a compilation. But I think it will be also fun if we can see the results of 12 people. Well, 11 if I'm not counting Alex because he was not able. But let's see what Alejandro and Jose Luis get. What is also good for the cities and regions that are joining is that you know that we could explore other alternatives for this tool, considering other challenges or other issues that may affect the decision-making process. And
Anna, could you give me some permissions to share the screen?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry. You can right now. But we cannot see you the video, your camera, I mean.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me explain what is in this graphic. As Anna mentioned before, we are trying to show in only one graphic the relationships between the different elements that we have assessed before. Let me go through the, can you see my arrow or not? Yes?
Yes, perfectly well.
We have in the center, first node is multi-level governance that are very, you see that is very interrelated with other nodes. The node that is in the center of the graphic, means that we have more in the dependence with the other nodes. The graphic is showing, taking into account this is the center. This first cluster in this part of the graphic, that is our regulatory changes linked to the legislative length, to license and permits, and strategic governance capability with reference framework. This part of the graphic say that if you want to tackle the challenges that you have in your project, you consider that all of these topics should be tackled in the same cluster of workshops, or this part is around the rules and regulations and how the different interactors or actors are interacting between them. The second, you have here another cluster that you can see here. This is like the capabilities that you have in your community. First of all, it's about the dialogue in the quadruple helix, the multidisciplinarity of the team that you need in order to tackle the challenges, and the cultural context that you are embed in your project. Some interesting connection is through the innovation technologies that is connected first with the context of the regulatory environment, of the context with the people who is surrounding the solution, the capabilities of the group of people who is surrounding the solution. Third, we have another cluster taking into account the financial topics, financial sustainability of the solution, how you can provide public and private modeling in order to finance the OPEX, and probably the CAPEX here. Here is the CAPEX mostly, and here you have the OPEX, and related with a strategic reference framework that are giving you also the possibility to finance through probably sustainable finance instrument that Diego can mention during his session. Here you have also how the public-private model is connected with the quadruple helix, that how the stakeholders are capable to understand that a public-private modeling and give another vision in order to finance the solution. For me, is clear that probably the next programs or initiatives could give more light on this part of the graphic that are related to the license, how the relations with the mandates of the people who is involved in the decision making. What is the people who will be included into the dialogues on the solutions, and how the financing could play a role on this. What does it mean in real terms? That with these 3 or 4 clusters, you can find better solutions. But give me 1 minute more, taking into account that centrality is on the different levels of decision making that are relating all the topics that we have in the agenda. The rules, the stakeholders, and the finance at the end of the day. This is a tool in order to simplify and focus on priority and prioritize the agenda. And I hope that you find this insightful in order to shape further conversations. Thank you. Do you have any questions or reflections on the graphic? We can merge Ronald if you want, or with this morning. My colleague has discovered how to do it very easy.
If I could say, it looks like we have a more clearly defined group of clusters than we had this morning. Is that right?
Yeah, it's very similar. It's very
yeah, there are similarities. Yeah,
maybe some nodes are less connected than others. For example, I remember that innovation technologies are related more with the part of the financing, or there are another nodes that are differently connected. Mostly those that are less connected or less central.
Yeah. Yeah, innovation technologies did not emerge very strongly this afternoon.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't have the.
I think it was stronger this morning. I had a larger position.
Maybe we can if you we are not so many at the call. Let me try to merge with the others, and we can play also. Here, you can see that when we have more people surrendering or participating into the exercise, works better because the multi visions are enriching the views that we have in the graphic. Here you can see clearly how the multi-level governance is at the center, and how this the regulatory cluster is more related to the administrative capacity or strategic reference that maybe could be another business. And also the cultural context, the quadruple helix, the innovation technology is more clear that are related about what kind of solution we need to develop or design, depending on the cultural context and how the stakeholders are getting traction in a specific direction. And here the part of the more on finance, the finance is related also about how we can tackle or how we can get advantage of the multi-level governance in order to get some financial stability. And the OPEX and the CAPEX are less clear than we had in the previous graphic. Any comments?
Yeah, I was just going to ask if there are any comments, or you would like to add your concerns on how do you see, no? Because it is true that from this morning session, we are concentrating on the multi-level governance as the main challenge.
Mm-hmm. We have, I think that we need to discover here that the stakeholder quadruple helix is also very central. If you see what does the direction of the arrows, this node has a lot of consequences about how is this impacting on the stakeholders, coming from the information that they receive, the cultural context of the of the individuals that integrate the quadruple helix, or how strong are the capabilities that you have in order to design the solution. What are the people or the capabilities and the skills that you are capable to join in order to define the solution. And also in the multi-level governance, if you see, they have a lot of consequences. But for me, it's important that if you see what are the arrows that are going out of the node, it is the internal communication, how these multi-level governance are capable to coordinate itself in terms of information that are sharing, and also how they can encompass the regulatory changes that you need in order to tackle with the challenge that you have in front of you. I think that make a lot of sense. But this is not different about what do you think, because you finally decided what are the relationship that you want to represent in the graphic. Is only a representation with an algorithm on what are you thinking. If Anna, if you allow me, you can see here the average of relationships that are also important. That this is the wait a moment, because I have here. The main problem that is more connected is the budget constraints, the length of the legislative periods, and it is a very important related to the regulatory environment. If you see what is the consensus of what are the relationships that are more important in order to define what kind of problem we have on the table, I think that looking at this table for the first three rows, you can find a lot of for sure familiar dilemmas.
Very interesting.
Thank you very much. I think that we will share the results in written with the reports. We invite you to have a look to that, to use the tool. I think that in this the current environment recommend us to embrace the complexity. Sometimes the problems are not simple. The solutions are not unique. There is a very healthy exercise if you can try with the complexity. Simple or difficult is not complex, or complex is not difficult always. It's a question of the efficiency of the solution that we are capable to define. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jose Luis. I just hope that this interactive session will illuminate you somehow to the next steps of your projects, or at least think of the relations between the different challenges that may affect, so we could anticipate the solutions or the alternatives to the problems and barriers that you are facing in your projects. I don't know if you find it inspiring. Hopefully, yes. Otherwise, well, I mean, we will share the results as Jose Luis mentioned. I don't know if anyone else would like to add a comment. Bonnie, Sandra, Amparo. No, all is clear.
I was having, sorry, and I was having one question that I was seeing the image and the innovation technology. In both images, the first one and the last one was in a corner, and it seems like not really important maybe, but for me it's really linked to the sustainability aspect. So
that's why we were.
I think that this is for everyone around the table probably has their own conclusions about where their nodes are placed, but my recommendation, Eduardo, is that think about most of the people from my experience seeing this kind of graphics. My impression is that the innovation is not the problem. The solutions and the technology is there. This is not the barrier. You know how to do it. Probably the challenges are in another places, how to implement, but it seems that the people around the table thinks that we can innovate, sure, but in order to finance, in order to make it compatible with the current regulatory framework, with the blah, 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 with all the other things. But the solutions are there. And I think that most of your project that I was admired by your solution and the dialogue that you have made during these months are showing this. The solutions are there. But I agree with you, Eduardo. Technology also plays a role in this game.
I think so, but maybe, well, not everyone, and it's normal.
No, but
Thank you.
but it's true. It's another way of reading the results. Innovation is important, but it's not a barrier right now. Permits, I saw licenses and permits are a very strong pull also. They also keep limiting, no, the innovation in example and the new technologies development in some countries. I was just reading the last comment from Felipe. Thank you, Felipe. That we shouldn't relegate the different relationships between the different sectors, and some of them are key. For sure, Felipe. So I think this is the end of this session. Thank you very, very much for joining us. We hope you found this session interesting. We will share the results, as Jose Luis was mentioning, in a compiled takeaway, and it will be shared in the knowledge sharing platform of our website. I will just write it down, but you know it perfectly well. So hope to see you around and see what those projects become after this year. Thanks a lot and stay well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anna.
Bye.
Thank you to all.
Thank you.
all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.